So we all know about the Cinderella story, right? And let me tell you, when I saw the trailer of Bridgerton season 4 being the Cinderella story, I was like, oh, but give me a break. But then it starts to get interesting.
Be my mistress.
I'm starting to look at this and I'm like, wait. Me likey. This video is gonna be all about Sophie, her perspective, her journey, her story, and how we relate. And then the next video, we're gonna flip it and we're gonna see how Mr. Benedict Bridgerton is experiencing this whole situation. Is he a player or just a lost little boy? But you know, that later. Sophie is hit with the dilemma of many young women, who she actually is and who she's been told she is.
You are illegitimate.
Her papa passes away and Sophie becomes a maid, wait for it, just like her mother.
A maid who let herself become a mistress.
All according to the new wife, so you know, we believe it. You might be raised as a noble, you might be educated as a noble, but if you're coming from a maid's family, that's the only path you get.
Being a maid is the best you can hope for.
Sophie is fuming. She is so sick of the freaking injustice happening in her freaking home.
I am angry.
Like, what do you mean I'm the one who needs to take care of everyone like I freaking birthed them? And then when they F up, it's also my fault. The missus lost her mask for the masquerade ball, and it cannot possibly be her disorganized ass. Of course, it was the maid. The maid, like Sophie would risk her head like that.
Please accept my deepest apologies.
Though the missus understands, you know, it must be difficult seeing all of us going to a ball while Sophie needs to stay there. Envy is a bee. And no, Sophie didn't want to sabotage the ball. But, you know, between the two of us, she is a little bit envious. I mean, who wouldn't be? How fair is this? While she needs to scrub up the floor, her stepmother and stepsisters are going to a freaking ball that they won't even appreciate. Honestly, she's hoping the carriage would turn into a pumpkin. What would Sophie do to have a chance to be at a ball like that? To actually be a part of the crowd, to be looked as though she belongs and not like she's a part of the furniture. Sophie has an audience. It's the footman Alfie and the cook Irma, and they're friends, you know? So they're looking at her and they're like, girl, let's do it. Let's get you to that ball. No, they don't have a fairy godmother and there's no mice there. The cat ate them. But she already has a mask. And don't get it twisted. It's not just the, you know, cover your eyes mask. It's actually covering 2/3 of her face. So, valid. Sophie's looking at her friends and she's like, no, I could. Could I? No, it's too risky. But also, Alfie, my man, go to the attic and check if there are any old gowns while I get ready. With the little help of Alfie, aka stylist in the closet,
silver shoes to match.
Sophie becomes the mysterious lady in silver, and just for this one night, she can live the fantasy. It is everything she could imagine it being. The decorations, the flowers, the band playing, people dancing. Sophie is looking around like she is in a freaking Disneyland. But also she needs to pay attention because she cannot get caught by the Panther, aka her stepmother. Very relaxing, very James Bond. But overall, she does feel like she can actually enjoy herself. No one is asking her to drop it low and clean the floor. It's all about experiencing something new. That cha-ching.
Glorious.
I mean, how can she take away her eyes from the enormous chandelier in the middle of the room with like 50 candles on it, illuminating everyone? It's magical. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is us being a witness of how materialism took over an innocent soul. And for a second, she does feel like she could belong. Now, maybe it's because she's dressed like everyone else and she can pretend to be anyone she wants to be. Or maybe the fact that no one knows who she is, it actually allows her to be the most free, to actually feel most like herself. Now, Sophie doesn't know that this could get a little bit dangerous. I mean, a room full of men. How can an innocent, childlike lady have a chance? Too much? And boom, A bachelor approaches her and he asks her for a dance. The problem is, Sophie doesn't know how to dance, but she is a smart lady and she can handle a man. Not so fast, Sophie, because boom, another one comes trying to save her. Like, what in the freaking predators be all around is going on here? But this one is, cuter and taller, so why not?
Why did you rescue me?
Yeah, Sophie, sweetie, a man pretending that he has your dancing card when you know he doesn't have it, we don't call that a rescue. We call that danger. Again, he be cute and all, so Sophie agrees to dance with him. Also because, what do you mean you noticed me? I wasn't even looking for anything. Now again, Sophie does not know how to dance, and it will be a little bit tricky to get out of this one. Unless, I guess, another bachelor appears and he is her wink driver. Imagine the adventure of that. Sophie spotted on Silk Road. But while she is trying to get out of this situation, this man is panicking more than she is.
Have I offended you? Have you lost your chaperone? Is it that we've met?
Like, sir, I'm trying to figure out my panic, not manage yours.
No, I cannot dance.
Now this fella be a bit confused. Like, what do you mean? You are a lady at a masquerade ball, and we know how society works. You've been trained since a little girl to tippy-toe, and shake. No, not right. But he a smart one. He gets it. It's the costume, huh? She's really committed to her role, huh? Doesn't know how to dance. Sophie is looking at this man like a mother is looking at the painting of her child, pretending that it's good when it is clear that this person needs to be good at mathematics. And she's like, sure, that's it. I am playing a role. And as Sophie is also avoiding the panther, aka her stepmother, the offer to go to the terrace is perfect. There's this little spot with like a structure with like fairy on it and flowers or candles or whatever was a fancy cute thing. And Sophie is taking it all in. She's looking at everything like it's the first time she's seeing nature.
You're not like the other young ladies,
She turns around, she looks at the gentleman and she's like, what do you mean, kind sir? What do you mean I'm not like the others? What's wrong with the others? Is it hard that they are pursuing him so much? I mean, honestly, she can get it. The problem is that it's clear he doesn't get that these ladies are trained from an early age to dress a certain way, to act a certain way.
All in the hope that you might simply notice them.
Yes, Biz, Sophie be a girl's girl in a time where it was crucial to have a man. And yet, you can't do it, huh? The gentleman is intrigued. What about her? Is she not hoping to be noticed?
I am merely hoping to enjoy myself.
And while I would go pick me alert, I mean, we also have to understand that this is actual truth for Sophie. This is the one night where she can just be anyone she wants to be and even experience this. So she is really just trying to enjoy herself. It's the most Sophie can actually hope in her position. One thing leads to another, and she finds out that the man in front of her is actually one of the hottest, most wanted bachelors of the season, Benedict Bridgerton, the second son of the Bridgerton family. She figured it out from the town gossip magazine. Whistle down. He tries to understand where is she from, but Sophie knows how to dodge everything. She lives between the city and the countryside, and her parents are mother and father. But the real IQ level that we see when it comes to Sophie is when she flips it on Benedict.
Is that something you do?
Despite her barely revealing anything about herself, she's wondering why is Benedict doing all these questions and how she doesn't know anything about him.
Put all of the attention on others so that no one might see beneath your surface.
A smarty, I tell ya. Now, you might be thinking, okay, V, this is a little bit confusing because Sophie is a maid, right? And gown on, gown off. At the end of the day, she is in a presence of nobility, and yet she's just, challenging him like that. She's just like, tuck, 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 shooting spears. But on the other hand, the gown, the not knowing who she is actually, again, giving her the confidence to be totally openly herself, and no one can punish her for it. Sophie also learns that Benedict himself doesn't feel the most comfortable in society. As much as he is the most wanted bachelor, he also feels that it's not actually about him. And Sophie likey, because she gets him. She gets what it feels like being an imposter. She doesn't know if she's an imposter being here at the ball or an imposter being a maid. But you know what they're here for? To learn how to dance. It's a tale old as first tale. Sophie offers an emotionally unavailable man a space to be more open.
Will you not wade out deeper with me?
And he teaches her how to be a better version of herself.
I believe I still owe you a dance lesson.
The tension is building. He's looking at her. She's looking at him. We shouldn't. He takes off her glove and he kisses her wrist. The midnight struck and Sophie is like, what? Benedict is excited. It's midnight and it's time to take the mask off. Reveal yourself, woman. Sophie is like, we're not doing this. She needs to go. But right before she disappears, she turns around. She looks at Benedict, the hottest, that's not the right saying, the hottest bachelor of the season. And she just needs to take a chance one last time. Mwah! She kisses him and off she goes. How did I narrate that? I feel proud. She gets home right in time to take off her clothes, change in the maid's, outfit, and make sure everything is prepared when the panther with the cubs comes back. Honestly, panthers could be like really nice animals. Like, why do I use this reference? But at least she got one night of being herself and not being burdened by how everyone sees her. She got to have at least one night when someone looked at her and saw her as the most intriguing person they ever met. And intriguing she was. Guess what?
He's describing Benedict Bridgerton.
A specific second son of the Bridgerton family is looking for his missus. Sophie is excited. Like, what do you mean? She grabs the paper, but then she's, you know what? He probably meets so many ladies. It cannot be her. And it's even more shocking when Benedict visits the Pennywood house to meet with Posey, the second daughter.
And I was forced to walk across the stage with my feet hands.
Benedict Bridgerton is literally in the house. And Sophie, all she can do is speak through the little crack when he has his tea with Posey.
Look how kind he is to her.
Now I'm watching this and I'm confused. Alfie, her friend, is standing next to Sophie and he be confused also. Like, Sophie, girl, hey, snap out of it. This is your chance. Like, open the door, run outside, and you're like, it's me. This is my evil stepmother. They made me into this when not true. You're looking for me. I'm your love.
In there and tell him who you are.
Sophie is looking at Alfie, and honestly, she's also like, Alfie, my man, should I do this? Should I reveal that I am the mysterious lady in silver? But that's the thing.
He wants to find the lady in the silver gown.
Of course, she was beaming with joy, and she was carefree, and she just wanted to enjoy herself when there was no actual burden of who she is, what her work is, how the society sees her. The fact that he was intrigued was because on some level, he is thinking, this is one of us, right? But the interesting thing is that Sophie believes that one of those women is real and the other one isn't.
And she is not real.
And I think it's something that many of us can relate. When our best version or the best version of ourselves, the best moment, the best days that we had is almost like fake. That's not the real you. But what you do accept is the real you is the you with failures, is the you with struggle. Sophie almost doesn't believe that the version of herself that it's not burdened by shame, circumstances, how people see her, is also a real person. But maybe that's what Sophie needs to learn. while the mask got her in the room, gave her the access, gave her the confidence. Once she was in there, that was all her. Benedict leaves the house and Sophie is called by Lady Pennywood.
Perfect fit.
Yes, Bess, the panther got her. It took a little digging, but her stepmother figured out that the mysterious lady in silver was no other than freaking Sophie? Side note, I find it so fun how compared to the original Cinderella where the shoes were her salvation in a way, in this version, shoes are actually her doom. Interesting. Maybe there's some metaphor there that I'm not getting. Let me know in the comments below. I know there are some, analysts out there that get it.
You marked my silver shoes. You slipped into the masquerade ball.
She can't believe how ungrateful Sophie is to steal gloves, shoes, dress from her freaking home. What do you mean your home? This is also Sophie's home.
It is my home as well.
How dare you?
The fuck it is. This was never her home. Lady P. Oh yeah, I can call her Lady P. Lady P has suffered all these years taking care of Sophie, of the bastard. Like Jon Snow. She didn't want Sophie there. But what can she do when she is so nice?
I have suffered having you under my roof all these years.
Excuse moi? Sophie cannot believe her ears. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean you suffered? I've done everything in this home and I wasn't even paid for it.
Without wages, without complaints.
Sophie is saying everything she wanted to say for probably some time, calling out the freaking injustice, the unfairness, the delusion, the fact that this was her home before Lady P took it. Lady P gave her protection. Who knows what would happen to Sophie if she would be left out, needing to face life with being a bastard. It's time for Sophie to leave.
And you will never work again in Mayfair.
And that's when Sophie is hit with the reality. Doesn't matter how fair or unfair, Lady P has the power at the end of the day. Sophie is devastated, but she's also hurt and angry. And when she's packing her bag, she almost leaves the glove behind because honestly, at this point, this thing actually put her in trouble. But at the same time, this glove is the only thing that makes that night real. The night when she was free. Sophie is standing in front of her home, or at least what once was her home, taking one last look. And she's gone. Now, we don't know how much time has passed, but Sophie actually finds work in the countryside. And one night, there is a party. The son of the boss is, going wild. She hears her friend, another maid, being in trouble because these men are trying to attack her. She runs out and she tries to help her, but not really successful until, boom, another man comes out and he saves both of them. It is no other than, you guessed it, Alfie. No, I'm kidding. I got you there. It is Benedict.
Mr. Bridgerton.
But as much as Benedict is reappearing as a blessing, Sophie is upset because she just got fired from the boss's son. But Benedict, a noble, surprises her again. He's gonna help her find a new job in London. It's a pinky promise. And because Sophie doesn't have really any other option, she ends up sitting next to him. Honestly, kind of pissed. Maybe on some level, she hoped that once he sees her, he would recognize that this is the woman, right? I mean, is it that different from the mask? I wouldn't say so, but they tell us it is. But the gods are brewing their own soup. It starts to pour rain and they need to do a little detour. But luckily, Benedict be rich, so he has a huge ass mansion just a little bit off the road. It also has a peculiar name. Cottage.
Cottage feels somewhat misleading.
The writers be really subtle with the who you are is not what people know you to be. It is a little bit awkward because Mrs. and Mrs. Crabtree, the one who are supposed to be here and take care of the mansion and then take care of Benedict whenever he decides to drop by, are out. And he doesn't have a key. What do you mean I need to have a key? And well, Sophie comes to the rescue, and biz, the rescue it is. Not only is Sophie smart, witty, capable, she is also a ninja. Because how else do you explain her climbing through a window to a place that she doesn't know, finding a candle, lighting it up, and then open the door from the inside, all in the time Benedict ducks down and checks if there's a key under the rug? It's a ninja maid. Benedict takes her to one of the guest rooms because Sophie is a guest. And Sophie is looking at the room. She feels a little bit uncomfortable, but at the same time, oh my God, I can actually sleep in the big ass bed. I guess for another night, she can enjoy the finer things in life, provided by a man. Hey, it was different times. But what's that? In the middle of the night, she hears screams from Benedict. And while my weak ass would kind of, duck down, hide under the bed, and start offering her blood for salvation, because what do you mean? I'm in a freaking mansion and there's a man howling down the hallway. Sophie gets up on her feet and she is ready to help. She is a little bit shook it, and so are we, because why does he need to be posing, showcasing his abs while he is screaming in pain? I wonder how this scene was described in a book, and that's what they were trying to show. He's sweaty and his abs are ebbing. Sophie gets to the action. She notices that little injury he got from the fight, saving her, is actually quite life-threatening. She takes, alcohol, she puts it on the wound to disinfect, and then she takes, what do you take? Textile. She presses on the wound, and just like that, Benedict is safe. I'm telling you, she'd be different, a ninja maid. And despite Sophie thinking she will actually be able to sleep in the big freaking bed, she ends up sleeping on a freaking chair because, she a good one and she needs to stay there and take care of him. It's the next day and Mr. and Mrs. Crabtree are back. And the sight of a lady sleeping on a chair and a man in bed, not nice. Now again, not because why is she suffering, but more so, where is the chaperone? She cannot be alone here. They not married. Now again, Sophie is a guest at this place, but she has a little bit of a challenge acting like one. Because how do you walk in the garden without noticing a weed in and, dropping down on your knees and pulling it out, or just walk without tripping? You see, there is a thing called, Role conditioning. Internalized role conditioning, something like that. A very simple example is relationships versus your single self. Let's say you've been in a relationship and that ended, and maybe the relationship wasn't the best. As a single person, you're almost like a better version of yourself. You take care of yourself more. You are the person who is social more, who eats healthier, who this and that, right? If you weren't like that in the relationship. But then you get into a relationship and suddenly all of that disappears. Now, of course, it could be that you are with someone who does do that to you, like they emotionally drain you to the point that you don't really take care of yourself. But let's say that person is not doing any of that. It could be because of this role conditioning, because the version of you that is in a relationship is a version who is dependent, is a version who is not good enough, is a version who is always failing. So even when the environment is not asking you to do that, you kind of associate your identity with that, and you still kind of fall back to that conditioning. When Sophie was wearing a mask, she was also free from how people saw her, right? When she is now at this cottage, even though she is treated like a guest, almost like a lady, she wears a lady's dress, the environment still sees her as a maid or knows that she is a maid. For her to now act like a lady, and that being natural, she would have to test it how these people would react, knowing that she's actually a maid. But here's the thing about being stuck in a cottage with someone for days. The walls can start crumbling down. And that's the thing. at this cottage, yes, there is Mr. and Mrs. Crabtree, but overall, it's basically just Sophie and Benedict. And Sophie gets a chance to get to know him a bit better. She finds his paintings, and while Bridgerton is a little bit embarrassed, clearly it is not a known fact of the second Bridgerton's son that he likes to paint, Sophie appreciates his art. She sees the meaning in it.
The style is unrestrained, but it gives the impression of real feeling.
At one point, she even starts to speak French. And when Mr. Benedict is trying to showcase his oui, wait, that's wrong. She has no problem correcting him. He needs to work on his jaw. And when Benedict doesn't react weird, like, how dare you correct me? These are basically the moments when Sophie is testing her conditioning, let's say. If he knows I'm a maid and yet I still show my confidence or that I'm not afraid of him or my knowledge, will he pull back? Because that's what would happen in the past, right? It is very clear what is her place. And of course, the whole vibe is them falling for one another. And this is where I'm like, yes, Shondaland. In the original Cinderella story, Cinderella's values are humbleness, goodness, innocence. And they don't really show that, the Cinderella and the prince actually share things, which created these damaging messages of no matter how different you are, even if you're coming from a completely different world, love conquers all. And that, not the reality. So the fact that here they show how Sophie and Benedict connect because they do share those things, they do share in some way their upbringing, is actually making me believe this love more. Now, I'm not trying to say a poor woman can never get together with a rich man. But when we say that all it's needed is love, I'm not going to sign that one. Now, the more they kind of connect, the more Sophie is a little worried because he is charming and he's kind to her. And that can be tricky. Mrs. Crabtree herself warns Sophie. She needs to be careful. There is still the reality, and she shouldn't mistaken his kindness with familiarity.
It is important for all of us to remember our place.
And again, that's a real thing, right? How many times we've heard about, do you actually enjoy this person and like this person because of who they are and you connect, or because you never really experienced good treatment, you never experienced kindness, and that makes you feel like you are in love with this person or that this person loves you. But maybe that's also the point, or one of the main things when it comes to love, being treated like you matter. When Sophie is walking in the garden, not thinking of anything, she comes across a naked Benedict swimming in the lake, and she is a little bit shooked. Of course, she's gonna hide behind the tree because that's what you do. But Benedict has sixth sense, and he knows that someone is there.
What are you doing out here?
I am taking my daily walk.
And no, she didn't spy on him, but at the same time, how can she not notice him?
I cannot help but notice you.
He's looking at her. She's looking at him. The chemistry is pulling them together, and they cannot resist kissing. But then Benedict pulls away. He shouldn't. Sophie herself gets a little bit like, okay, yeah, we shouldn't. And then they get into this awkward, after you, please, thank you, after you. Now, Sophie is aware that this could be, risky. What is she doing? Where will this lead? And when she is walking around the house and comes across Benedict, who is now in his, study room drawing, the reality kicks in even more.
It was improper. I regret it.
And Sophie, though she does understand that, she's also mad. Again, she is reminded of who she is and how she is almost like not allowed to experience something nice just because of her role. It's time for the two of them to go back in London, and Sophie needs to change back to her maid's uniform. But what's interesting is that she puts back on her mother's necklace. You see, the first time when she changed her clothes and wore the dresses, she took the necklace off, almost like wanting to escape that identity, like the two cannot coexist. Or she forgets where she comes from and she can enjoy herself, or that will define how her life goes. And as they're leaving the Benedict's cottage, she takes one final look back, saying goodbye to another place that made her feel safe, saying goodbye to another place they told her who she was. Sophie, though, is in for a treat because the job that, Benedict was hooking her up with back in London? Yeah, it's gonna be working for his mother. Look, the man couldn't really do anything because somehow no housewife wants to hire Sophie.
I'm only trying to help.
And this, to the contrast of how she was working at Pennywood's house, this is a whole ass structure. Everyone knows what they need to do and no one is really overworked. It's almost like the Bridgerton family is introducing the work-life balance for the staff. I mean, at one point, she is even offered a cake. She is genuinely enjoying her time here because she can also share her knowledge about books and art and languages because it's actually appreciated.
Oh, have you read Ennui?
Yes, though I prefer when she writes from the feminine
What
perspective.
is a little bit tricky is that despite Benedict promising that he's gonna, stay out of her way, it's not really happening like that. Now, is it his fault or the gods are making their moves? Yeah, no. And also, Benedict keeps on showing how good of a guy he is. Her friend, the other maid from the countryside job that went a little bit dangerous, Hazel, is also a part of the family.
The spirits are speaking.
The staff part of the family. One day, when they again come across each other mysteriously, they also share their longing for the time at the cottage.
I do miss our time in the countryside.
Both Benedict and Sophie seems to share this burden of the roles that they have and how it impacts how they were feeling when they were freed by that, when they were just enjoying themselves. At one point, Benedict is also like, don't leave me. And I'm like, oh, what's happening? Is this gonna be it? But then it's kind of weird because she says that she's gonna stay here because she got a permanent job. I guess it was a romance scare. Am I right? Wow. Benedict takes her hand in his hand and tells her she deserves it. She deserves more.
You deserve more.
And this makes Sophie feel uncomfortable because this is becoming really, really challenging. She's in bed, tossing and turning, so she needs a little bit of release. Wink, wink. But I guess it's not working. It's just not the same. Having the D. Sophie is working, okay? She needs to serve a guest of Benedict. And that guest, well, it is a prominent young lady, maybe a future bride. Now, when she enters the room and she sees Benedict, they're happy seeing each other. But out of nowhere, the vibe turns very dark. You see, when she tries to pour tea to Benedict, he's all jittery and nervous and upset. And, one thing leads to another and he's kind of rude to her, okay?
Damn it! Leave it.
Everyone is looking at him like, boy, you need to sit down. The thing is that he got a little bit uncomfortable when Sophie was there. And then this lady was there, and this is not what he wants. Sophie should not see this or experience this, and he just didn't know how to act.
Sophie, forgive me.
But Sophie is not really understanding because she's also reminded that that's the reality. He's a gentleman and she is a maid, and that's that. And honestly, he is making things even worse, especially when he tells her things like, don't leave, you deserve more, and putting foolish ideas in her head. Like, why is he even there? Why is he still there?
But I cannot stay if you are living here and you are ruining it. You are ruining it all.
Sophie is low-key losing it, okay? If that's what she wants, then he's gonna leave. And when Sophie sees him packing, she feels bad. But at the same time, it's the best, right? She's getting ready to go out with her friends, the other staff, because yes, biz, the Bridgerton family also gives a night off. But somehow, Sophie be a woman, so she forgets her coin bag.
Oh, I have left my coin purse in my room.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which century we are in, a woman cannot escape forgetting her bag. She's running out the stairs and she almost gets a concussion because she almost bumps into Benedict. And he is clearly in the fields. He's been looking for her. They're looking at each other and they get it on. The passion is off the roof. He puts her against the wall and he cannot restrain himself anymore. She comes. Yep. Benny licks his fingers and she comes. Right there on the staircase. They're looking at each other, smiling. Both happy. Benedict can leave if she wishes, but the thing is that he cannot leave because she consumes him. He meant it when he said that she does deserve better, and he is determined to give her that and even more. Sophie is looking at Benedict and she cannot believe what she's hearing. Is this real? Is she finally seen for her worth? Is someone actually loving her for who she is?
Be my mistress.
Excuse me, what? Did I hear that?
Be my mistress.
I. The reality kicked in again. There's no world in which he can marry her. And before Netflix bless us with the continuation, trust your individuality and connect authentically.